What's up guys, I'm OverScore, and today we're going to be breaking down my latest track till the end. This is a track that I've had in the vault for a while because I was never really happy with the vocal and I kept rewriting it and changing lines, but I finally laid it on a version that I'm happy with. If you haven't heard this song yet, you can stream it down below as well as follow all my socials, and if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, and let's get into breaking down the track. Here we have the project file for it. This is not going to sound the same as it does on streaming services just because this is before mastering. This is actually a relatively simple project. I just took forever to get a right vocal for it, but let's go ahead and get into it. First off, we have this little transition here that leads us into the track. That transition leads us into this labs piano. The serum patch that I've made. A silent pad. And this pluck that I found in Serum that's playing the main melody. And throughout this first intro section, we also have this ambience slowly rising its way up. And altogether, that sounds like this. Coming into the next section, this is where the vocals start, but I currently have them muted. The only thing that's really changing is the atmosphere is at full volume now, and we introduce these chords. And these big tom drums. And then to bring us out of that section, we have a downlifter that I've reversed, as well as a cymbal transition to take us into the build-up. And altogether, that sounds like this. For the build-up, we're going to remove those chords that we had during the verse, and we're also going to bring back the pluck for the first half of the build-up. We also have this downlifter here, as well as this respace. Then we have some build-up drums here. And then two more risers. Through the second half of the build-up, we're also going to add this impact and this ambient shot. And then, of course, we're going to filter in our leads. And then for the pre-drop drum fill, I just mixed a bunch of different drum fills together. And then also for the pre-drop, we have the drop ambience that I'll go over in a second. That is just rising in volume. And altogether, that should sound like this. Getting into the drop, let's go over our drums. We have a 4 on the floor kick. We have these drop claps that are ever so slightly sidechained to the kick. We have these claps that hit on the 2 and 4. We also have these rides here. And then we have various downlifter effects. Here's this ambience I was talking about earlier. Very subtle, but still very nice. Altogether, the drums and effects sound like this. I also added this little drum fill about halfway through the drop, as well as some hi-hats and shakers to fill up a bit more space. Let's get into our bass. Start off with our bass, we have this Serum preset. This Serum preset as well. As well as this one. And then a sub bass. In terms of mixing, I've divided these up into 3 sections. I have the mid bass bus, which has these 2 basses. For processing, I have some Camel Crusher to add some distortion. and OTT at about 50% with a little bit of gain. We have an EQ to cut most of the high mids as well as the bass frequencies because these are the mid basses. We have a kickstart to give it the sidechain, and then this tape stop, which I don't really know how to explain what it does. It just does this. That's a tape stop. And then for this other bass, we have OTT at 35 with 4 decibel gain increase. We have a camel crusher for more distortion. We have an EQ to hard cut anything above the mid frequencies and anything below the bass frequencies. Same thing with the sub bass, I just have a tape stop and a kickstart on it. And altogether with processing, they sound like this. Here we have our chords, which aren't very present in the mix. It's just 3 silent presets that I've made. I routed them all to one channel. I have an EQ cutting most of the high mids and everything in the bass frequencies, as well as a little bit of reverb. And then lastly, we just have a kickstart. Altogether, they sound like this. And then lastly, we have our leads, which is made up of 5 different presets. Starting off, we have the silent preset. We have this Nexus Supersaw. We have this staccato string from Flex. We have this Serum preset. And lastly, we have another silent preset. Processing on the leads consists of an OTT at 28 with a little bit of gain reduction. We have an EQ to completely cut out the lows. We have a camel crusher for some light distortion. Then we have some sausage fattener just to give it a little bit more distortion. We have another EQ to kill the lows that were created from the distortion. We have a stereo enhancer to widen up the leads a little bit, as well as another EQ that was just taming a frequency I didn't like. Throw on some reverb as well to give it more space, adding a little bit more stereo separation. And then we have tape stop and kickstart on this as well. And what I'm doing with the tape stop is I'm actually using it to trigger, I'm using an automation clip to trigger the effect at certain points in the song, usually on that second downbeat. That's a tape stop. And after all that, this is the drop. After the drop, we bring back our respace, our silent pad from earlier, and then a piano that is playing the chords and the top melody at a pretty high octave. And altogether, that sounds like this. And then after the second verse, we have this reverse lead that brings us back into the leads. I'm also bringing back the chords and adding an impact, as well as bringing back the respace and a downlifter. And then halfway through that section, we're adding some more claps. And then after the second drop, we're going to bring back those chords as well as that higher piano playing the melody. And then we have a sub drop and that transition that we had at the start of the song. This has been a breakdown of my new song, Till the End. You can stream it down below or wherever you get your music from. And yeah, that's going to be it for me. Have a good one.